All right, this is Brian Casey here with Touchdown Europe. We are doing our Touchdown Europe podcast, interviewing all the athletes kind of around Europe, how their season going, hear their story and background, and what's their plans for the future. With me today is a friend of mine, a former teammate, and a guy I'm super proud of and where he's at, Alex Kreß. Thank you for joining, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah. A little quick background on how Alex and I know each other. We had both played for each other with the Albertson Crusaders. I played there with 2 years. We had played in the regional league and as well in the GFL2. And then this little time after that, this old man over here decided he was still young, signed a contract with the Ravensburg Razorbacks. And I actually got to see Alex and play against him last year in Ravensburg against the Schwäbisch Unicorns. Alex is now with the Stuttgart Surge of the ELF, and they're off to a great start. Had some bumps here and there, but the record does not show that. So, Alex, man, really stoked that you're here. And on, if you can, just a little bit, give us a kind of a background of where it all started, and then now to Stuttgart.
Yeah, so like Brian said, we met. I think it was 2014 or 15, like with the Albertson Crusaders, where I started American football. I played there 3 years in the youth program. Then I went up to the men's team for 3 years as well, and then I wanted to try how high or in which high level I could play like in Europe. So I decided to join the Schwäbisch Unicorns. I had like a test tryout there like in end of 2016, and it worked pretty well, I guess. So they like to have me then, and since 2017 till last year, I played 6 years for the Schwäbisch Unicorns, and end of the last year, several guys from the Unicorns they wanted to join like a team in the ELF, and then Coach Jordan Newman with Johnny Brenner and Cody Pastorino, these three went to the Surge, and me and other players joined them, and now here we are in the European League of Football, and it's great to be there.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you. I mean, as mentioning with the Crusaders, and I know everyone, especially in Germany, everyone's paths kind of different. Some guys, played soccer or even, as you say, football there, kind of growing up, then transitioned. How did you get started? Like, what made you start to playing American football in Germany?
Yeah, so I think I did it very on the German way. I played soccer back in the days. And then I had I think since I was 12, 13, I just played the drums like in a music court. Gotcha. And but then when I was 14, 15, I searched for a sport again, because I just wanted to do like a sport in my free time. And I played a little bit rugby, like in school. There was like a teacher who played with us a little bit rugby, and that was pretty impressive for me because like it was a contact sport, and I really liked it. So at that time when I was 15, I tried to find a club here in the area, and didn't found anything like rugby wise. I had my ears open, and then I heard about like an American football club, and I searched a little bit about it, and it was a contact sport as well, like rugby. So then a guy came up to me and asked me for a tryout. So it was Thomas Schwarz. Maybe you know him from Abershausen as well. So I went with him to like a practice, and since day one, I really liked that sport, and it worked out pretty well. So since then, I'm all in.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
You've
best sport in the world.
well, I know you're not going to say it, but as I'll tell everyone else on here from playing with you, you were a dominant force. And if I remember, I think our years together was 2016 and 17, and it was from the start knowing that you controlled that D line and you made plays. We were in the regional league, so it was little bit lesser competition with the players that we had. Definitely, we had yourself, two Americans on defense. We had, I think, Matt was it, our receiver, who had also played for Schwäbisch before in the
Mhm.
national team, and then at that time a young Tim Morovic, just kind of coming up into the Europe scene. So we were kind of firing on all cylinders, and I knew that that was going to be like your kind of path. And so, how was that transition going from Albertshausen, where we're in the regional GFL2, and then up to, at that time, there was no ELF. So, the big show of the GFL, and as well, one of the best teams in Europe, Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns. How does that going from Crusaders to Unicorns?
Yeah, it was. I didn't know at that point what I can do like in that team.
Right,
Like with the Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns, there were several national team guys.
right.
They played the last 3 years in the German Bowl, so they were pretty like the best team in the South.
Mm-hmm,
So I did not know at that point what I can do there.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just had that one tryout, and I think at that tryout there was not even the starters there. It was like a tryout, which most of the guys were from the second team,
Gotcha.
and that worked pretty well. But I knew like there weren't the starters, so yeah, it was everything was new. So, but at that time, I just wanted to know how what I can do like in this
Right,
league or
right,
in that team.
right.
So, and I think like it was a pretty tough start. I played like against Christian Rote. Now he's like the head coach from Schwäbisch Hall, and back in the days he was one of the best O-line guys in Germany or in Europe. He was several years like in the national team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at the beginning, I had no chance, like at the one-on-ones or something like that. But then I think I had like 100% practice. I was at every practice, and
Yeah,
I pretty worked hard. And yeah, I knew that I were coming from a lower league and everything, but I just gave everything I could. Yeah, I could. And yeah, then it was like I think like 10, 12 weeks into practice. And then I had like a pretty good one-on-one against Christian. And I
okay.
was like, yeah, 2 seconds. I was at the quarterback and I was like, hey, maybe you can do something here.
Yeah,
And I think at that point, it really paid off that, yeah, that I was there every practice and practiced hard. And yeah, and from there on, it worked out pretty well for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely went to a great squad, great coaches. You notice how they kind of do things different there, a little bit more organized and structured, and that's what produces those wins that you guys occurred because of just the structure, which a lot of other teams that we've seen in Europe kind of lack. And there's kind of that reason, there's that separation right there. You talk about the transition now being with the unicorns. How was that time like? What give us a little history for those that don't know the unicorns, like during your time there. How many games how many times did you guys win championships and whatnot? How was that experience?
Yeah, it was awesome. So we had 17, 18, 19. Or 17 and 18, we won every game. And 19, we won every game except the German Bowl. And I think there we had like a streak of, I think like 50 games or something we won in a row. That was impressive. but you can also tell, like you told, like the structure and like everyone is working hard, and we treated every game, even when it was like a team who was not on top
Mhm.
in the league. We still treated every game like it's yeah, super important. And I
Yeah.
think that was like super important to win like this streak
Mhm.
in a row. And yeah, it was fun. And yeah, like you said, the structure and everything is built off that it, yeah,
Yeah.
it worked out that well.
And you guys were able to, because now this is the third year of the ELF, but last year, the Unicorns, so the second year of the ELF, you guys were able to kind of keep your structure of the team without too many guys leaving, it seemed like. Everyone started dashing off and signing with the ELF, but it was the Unicorns were able to kind of keep that structure. I mean, you had Moritz come back, which I definitely remember because I remember hitting him was like hitting a brick wall. He was so he was so big and heavy. But you also had one of the top Americans and Tyler Rutenbeck at receiver. You had a good quarterback, I think, who you have this year, the same guy, Hennessy, I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was just like, playing, especially in the South, when playing with Ravensburg and the teams we played, and then also then playing you guys, it was like it was a night and day difference. So you're able to keep that structure, which I mean, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, won it all last year, correct?
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. You played
Yeah, I
Potsdam. Was
think,
it Potsdam in the championship?
yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
we won the German Bowl and like the Central European Football League bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, you're able to keep that structure, and then now there comes a transition from the unicorns to the surge. How has that been? Now we're talking about you. The GFL was the top. Now it's the ELF. So now you're taking even another step up, where you're playing teams like the Rhine Fire, teams that are kind of pretty loaded, as well as you guys yourself. But now it's you don't have those. It seems like you don't have those week in, week out of possibly those lesser teams that you might have found in the GFL, and now everyone's good. So how's that transition been?
Yeah, it's crazy. So what I can tell right now about the ELF, like every team is like on a pretty high level. So
Mm-hmm.
we hadn't any game who was like easy. So yeah, we lost that one game against the Switzerland team.
Yeah,
um, and yeah, and that team was like, I think like on the in our division, like the lowest rated team, but
yeah. I think
they
they
beat
only had
us.
like one or two wins, and it was like one of the biggest upsets of the week. Like I remember watching that. Like, whew, how'd this happen?
Yeah, so they were ready. Maybe we weren't, or we had not our best day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they beat us, and it was they were good.
Yeah,
So I really like it that like every game is tough right now.
right,
So every game you really have to fight for it. Every game is interesting, even for the people who are looking at it.
right.
So I really like it, and I think it's the best thing we can do for the sport, that it's like that close.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, and do you feel it has been an easy transition since you guys have been able to kind of keep that team somewhat, take the players that you have with the Unicorns? I mean, now you have the same head coach. I know Cody went from player to coach. You have some
Mhm.
alignment. You have yourself. You have the quarterback, Riley Hennessy. Has that kind of, do you feel like that's aided in your guys' success, being able to keep that nucleus, that core?
Yeah, so we have a lot of unicorns guys in Stuttgart right now, but I would say like it's one third of unicorn guys, one
Okay.
third of Stuttgart guys, and one third of completely new guys from other teams.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's a pretty good mix. And what I really like, how the scouting and everything, how Jordan, Johnny, and Cody are doing that. Like they are recruiting pretty good guys, which are good players and good persons. And I think that is a very important point too, which is very good for a successful team.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did a pretty good job in that. And yeah, it was also that you have to, everyone has to be on the same page. For a lot of guys it was a new playbook and everything. For me it was good because we kind of, or most likely, played a similar playbook to the year before with the Unicorns. And
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that was the main topic, to like create a new team with new guys and with the Stuttgart guys and with the Unicorns guys together. And
Yeah.
I think we did a pretty good job. Still a lot to do, but I think
No,
I really like it.
no, that's great. Do you feel, Coach Newman, he's been able to keep his same coaching style that he was with the Unicorns to the Surge, or have you noticed some kind of differences since he's had to take on, more talent from all over, or has he been kind of the same?
What I really like and what I think, like the style he maybe knew or get in touch with in Schwäbisch Hall,
Mm-hmm.
he kept it in his coaching style as well, and I think that's like a really good point.
Awesome.
I think it also we have some. He had some new possibilities to recruit new guys and guys who are wanted to join the ELF team because it's like the highest level in Europe right now, and I think like that mix right now is working out pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It does. It looks great. There was, one that I was surprised that I saw that he didn't join you guys was Tyler Rudenbeck, your receiver. He ended up staying with Unicorns. Was that option? Do you know? Was that option there for him to join the Surge, or was he already having a life going in Schwäbisch Hall, or is that something you don't really know?
So I just can say I don't really know.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But when I saw like the last game, maybe he just wanted to do like his 100 touchdowns in the GLF, but
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think that was not the main point, but
Yeah. True.
it shoot out to him 100 touchdowns in the GFL.
Yeah. That's
Great player.
yeah. That's
I don't
that's
know what the reason was.
Yeah, that's a huge feat. That's one thing, is you don't see players playing that long, Americans playing that long in Europe. There is some special cases, guys like even maybe myself that just couldn't give it up. But there a lot of times, it's a couple years or it's 2 to 4 years. So for him to get that milestone, I mean, that's huge, and definitely congrats to him. So, but now, where are we at? The Surge is 6-2 right now, I believe, right? Or is it 7-2?
No, it's one. We just lost one game.
Just
I
lost
think
one. Okay.
6-1 or 7-1. Yeah.
No. Okay. All right, that's cool because I couldn't remember. Yeah. So what? As we know, our goals are the championship. But what is, how's the rest of this season looking like for you guys? What's the hope? Is it basically just taking that one game at a time and then making it to the playoffs and going from there?
So what I really like and what just the plan is, like we are playing I hope I can say that right now. We are playing the most important game, and it's the next one. And
Yeah.
I think this inside of everyone's head, like, is the best what we can do. And this is right the message from our coaches to us, and I really like it. And yeah, the most important game is the next one. That's fitting perfectly.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are on a nice roll. I think do you have a bye week this week?
Yeah, I think the whole league has a bye week right now because
Okay,
there are some international games. Yeah.
right. That's right. That's right. So bye week this week, and then what's our next game?
We are playing Munich at home.
Okay.
And yeah, Munich is pretty good right now. I think
Yeah.
they won several games, the last several games.
Yeah.
and still so we played in Munich and we won. But
Hmm.
it's a pretty good team, good
Hmm.
players, good playbook, and
Yeah.
yeah, offense and defense, both sides. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see to match up with this team again. And yeah, it will be a tough game.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, they have quarterback Chad Jeffries. He's a guy, actually a former Azusa Pacific. He went to the same college as I did. So I'm always kind of cheering for him a little bit. And then, you got Markel Castle up there with receptions as a receiver. And like you said, just an all around good team. Probably have had some tough games, but they got a great coach and a good game plan. So, yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward to that one. And as we're talking about, these wins and losses and good competition week in and week out, there has also been, and I'm just curious with your take as a player in the league, and you're with a good team right now, but there's been a lot of blowouts this year. And you could even say your last game, getting to 70 something points. That's a good amount of points, especially at a top level. And I know we're not putting any other teams down or anything like that. But what is your take on that? Because there is a lot of blowouts this year. Do you feel maybe the league kind of expanded too fast, or is it just kind of the way of football in Europe?
So even like this, or like our scoreboard from the last game, we still were 14 points behind,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, like
Yeah, very true.
Milano, they were up to 14-0.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think you pretty good. You know pretty good how football can be sometimes. Like in the second half, everything changed. Like our defense hold, I think like everything, and we
Mm-hmm.
got we got zero, or Milano got 0 points on the board in the second half, and
Mm-hmm.
our offense they went pretty good. Even then, I think in the last 3 4 drives we played with our second quarterback, and he threw like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And there was also like I think like a field goal, a blocked field goal with a return for 6. And
Yeah.
I think yeah, that was the reason for this high
Yeah.
scoreboard on our side. But otherwise, at the beginning, it was such a tight game as well.
I agree.
So yeah, I think football is just sometimes yeah, it can, yeah, sometimes things can happen very fast. And yeah,
Right. Right. It's just kind of the way of the game. No, no, I
it
hear you.
felt not like this high
Yeah.
when I played, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
football sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. You're definitely right because I watched that game.
Yeah,
Former teammate of mine, Davion Stewart, he plays DB for Milano Seaman, so I always like kind of checking out their games. And even yourself, you've got your quarterback Keontae Allen, who was with Algoy Comets last year, and he's
yeah,
done like a nice job of replacing Riley at the moment. So you're that was great. But yeah, the game was tight the whole way. And I swear it was about third or middle of third. I got up and I grabbed something to eat, and then all of a sudden I come back, and then you guys had just taken over. But like you said, it was a close game all around. So do you like? So for those who don't know, it has always been seen, and it's true because of the stats and history. Germany and Austria are the countries that kind of produce somewhat of the best football. And it's even true if you're looking at the LF with records. I mean, that's the way it is now. So I think with some of these expansions with teams, some people are wondering, is it too fast with some of these teams where you have the team from Hungary, or last year with Istanbul and them having to drop out, and this year even a team from Germany with Leipzig, them having to drop out, and then Prague as well was scared, or was on a scare that they were going to drop out, but then they were able to save themselves. Do you like the way the league's going of including more countries, or do you feel it could produce better if they start just more centralizing around Germany and Austria?
Yeah. So for me, it's a pity that a team like Leipzig, who was not that bad,
Right.
like is not anymore in the league. And
They had great players. You had AJ Wetland, the leading tackler, and
yeah,
then you even have I mean I don't know his name, but the new safety for Milano, who you saw
mhm,
returning kicks. I mean stud players, and they all played for Leipzig.
yeah. So it was a good team. So yeah, I don't know. I think there was other reasons why they are not kept going,
Right.
and I really like that the ELF is expanding and more teams are joining because, like, I think like the last 2 years, no one was counting at Stuttgart as well, and then there was like this year, and now Stuttgart is doing much better.
Yeah.
So and I think even like a team, um, maybe like the Hungary team,
Mhm.
maybe they have a year which is working out much better than
Very
this
true.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like the ELF is, yeah, there are good and bad points about the ELF, and I can really understand both sides. So I cannot say yes or no.
Right.
It's yeah, but what the ELF right now is, for my opinion, doing pretty good. It's like we have TV games.
Right.
Like the level is super high,
Hmm.
and like a lot of teams are on the same level, and yeah, they are creating like and making this sport better in Germany and Europe.
Hmm.
And they are like a lot of fans are going into the stadiums, and that is what I like. And like that is growing up the sport. And I think that is like a very, very good point. And
Yep.
but yeah, I can like there are some bad points as well, and I can also understand them. But I
Right.
think like in general, you can say like it's growing the sport, and it's that is a very good point.
That's true. That's the main thing because I started in 2011 in Europe, and now it's 2023, and to see the growth during this whole years of a decade or more, it's grown dramatically. Where back then the really main thing that we had was the Euro Bowl or the Big Six, so taking the six best teams and all playing each other, always being either the New Yorker Lions, Schwäbisch Hall, Berlin Adler, and all those teams back then. So now to have this league where you have just tons of teams and tons of talent, no, it's definitely for the up and up. Now, one thing that there has been happening a lot that a lot of people just wonder is this best for the league, which I know you've probably seen, but the Surge haven't really done is a lot of hiring and firing, like a lot of all right, it's week two. Maybe this guy isn't in the top five passing, so he's released. Or, all right, we are one and so or two and so, and a head coach gets fired. Now, there might be more behind the scenes than we know because there's always two sides to every story. But what's your take on that? Do you feel like it's a little bit too much hiring, firing, or do you feel like this is just the way of the game and it's just all up to each organization?
Yeah, so I think like at that level, there are sometimes some good reasons why you have to hire maybe a new quarterback or fire someone, or I don't know. And like even like in Allgäu Comets, Schwäbisch Hall, or other or Albershausen, it happened as well. But in
Yeah.
the ELF right now, it's such a media league, and yeah, you can really see it. So it happened in the GFL as well, but it was not that much public.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So in general, I think like in some teams it's a little bit too much.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, yeah, some teams are not doing a pretty good job with that, but some teams they are doing a good job with it, and they are just like wanted to change small things, and I think that's like okay. We also had some problems with injured players or something, and we are hired or fired some players as well.
Yeah.
But I think so. Like what I really like to find a way to not like we also have some injured guys still in Stuttgart and they are still with us even when they are not playing. And I think like you just have to find a way. Yeah, you're treating players good, you're treating coaches good, and I really, since right now, I really like that how it's going on in Stuttgart,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm super glad that I am playing for such a team, which is everyone treating super respectful,
Yeah.
and yeah, I could not imagine playing for teams which are doing a bad job with that.
Yeah. No, and I think you made a very good point. Is it did happen in the GFL, but it wasn't as publicized as it is with the ELF. I think that's one thing the ELF does right is they really produce a lot on social media, and they really get a lot of content out there, so it really catches your eyes and brings people to the game. It's an attractive league. But the one thing with that is they're putting everything out there, which everyone wants to know all that information. With the GFL, the one thing that it's still lacking is just getting that information out there, staying on top of stats, staying on top of news and information. And you're right. I think it's just a little bit more publicized now in the ELF. So that's a very good point. And you guys do, you could tell that I think you had a player last year with Schwäbisch Hall, Smith, American, and he against us, against Robbinsburg, he hurt his leg. I think he tore his ACL, and you kept him all year long, and rehabbed him, got him back to where he's at, and now he's playing great with the Unicorns right now.
Mhm.
And that's just a testament to the organization and to coaches alike. Because there's other organizations where you hear the sad stories where they might tear their Achilles or something, and then they're cut and released, and it's like that's not right. But
Yeah, I think a lot of organizations are not doing a pretty good job with that, and like the unicorns, they understood how do it on a respectful way and on a good way, and I like the coaching staff in Stuttgart is doing kind of the same right now, or doing the
yeah,
same right now, and
yeah,
I think that's super important. But yeah, it's a pity that some teams don't have that respectful way. But
right.
yeah.
Yeah, is what it is. But so, all right. Now you're on a bye this week. Most are around the league on a bye. Now you're getting into game week. Can you take us through a game week being a player for the Stuttgart Surge? Like, what is your practice schedule like? Like, how many practices do you have a week? Meetings and so on and so forth. Like, for guys to understand what kind of the structure looks like in Europe and now, especially in the ELF. What does a game week look like for you guys? From Monday to game day.
Yeah. So right now our game weeks are we are practicing Wednesday and Friday,
Huh?
and most of the time our games are on Sunday right now, and then we are doing Saturday morning like a walkthrough, and then we have the game on Sunday. So
Okay.
that's so we have three practices, or yeah, two practices and that walkthrough, and then on Sunday the game.
Nice. Do you guys
Yeah.
have like position meetings, defensive like meetings, like kind of throughout the week, or is everything done online, or how does that kind of work, or is everything kind of taken care of at practice?
Yeah, so I think early in the season we had a lot of. So we had some meetings before, like the day before practice as well. So
Mm-hmm.
right now we are doing a lot of in huddle. We are get noticed every practice,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a super important thing, and I pretty like it because I can watch my notes whenever I want or when I'm able
Awesome.
to, and that gives me. Yeah, um, yeah, I'm super flexible
Right.
with that, so I can do it when I have time, and that's super good, and I really like that. Yeah, I
Awesome.
heard about other teams they are doing like the day before practice a meeting for like 2 hours, and I think it's not that successful, and I think you really can use the time much better in that way how we are doing it.
No, that's awesome. No, I completely agree with you. The best way is just to be efficient. Keep it in a professional manner. Especially if you look at the NFL, they're only practicing a few days. I mean, they're out there every day, but their actual level of intensity is really only
Yeah.
a couple of days, even if that. Because at this level, once you get to this time, it's all about game day. It's all about making it to Saturday or Sunday, preserving the players. Everyone knows how to play. Everyone knows the techniques now. Now it's just fine tuning the little things. No, that's great. So how is this set up in Stuttgart? Do you have to have your own place, or do they set you up, or is it kind of half and half, or how's it look for yourself?
Or could you repeat the question?
Yeah, no, it's all right. No, how is your living situation and benefits in Stuttgart? Are you having to commute from your home, or do they have you set up like as a player in like this apartment building, or what does it look like?
So, like for me, I'm living like 45 minutes away from Stuttgart, and I'm driving every practice by car.
Gotcha.
Um, I think like most of the guys are doing it like that. Even some guys they have a longer ride, or some guys are coming by train. Yeah, there are a few guys like the American imports or some EU imports. They have apartments in Stuttgart. Um, yeah, but otherwise, I think most of the team is traveling by car or by train to the practices.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great, man. That's great. And so you've got but down to about three practices a week. You got the game day. You do have bye weeks, so it gives you some time kind of to yourself as well. What is time on your own like kind of look like? What's your hobbies like? Work schedule? Are you having to be going from work to playing, or how's it look like?
Like in a bye week or in a game
Or
week.
just like in general, what's your hobbies kind of away from football? What do you do when you're not with the Surge, basically?
Yeah. So I think yeah, like family and friends are super important for me.
Hmm.
And I like to spend time with my family and my friends. And I still got grandparents. Yeah, yeah, I have super good friends, and I think that is also what I'm yeah super happy when when friends away from football
Yeah,
when they're asking about my football career or
yeah,
something. And yeah, for me it's very important to also like have friends like outside of football, and I think it's very important to have that. And I still have some friends from school, and yeah,
yeah.
so I like to spend yeah time with those. I also like to spend time with myself to go for a walk or something. Like I'm living right next to the nature. I'm walking
Okay.
there sometimes in the evening just for an hour. And yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. And so, Alex, how old are you now?
28.
28. All right. What?
Still young.
What?
Still young.
Yeah, you sure are, man. 10 years younger than me. But all right. So 28. What does the future, your career with football look like for Alex? How long would we like to go with this game? What are we? What does our future look like?
Yeah. So I'm thinking like our games right now from game to game. I'm thinking about season to season as well.
Great.
So I think like sometimes if you have a bad injury or something is happening, or I don't know, it really can change very fast.
For
But
sure.
yeah, that's why I'm thinking from season to season. But I'm super happy. Yeah, I'm super glad that I'm not get injured that often, or I never had a serious injury in football. So I'm super happy and glad about that. And yeah, when I'm staying healthy, and yeah, I would really like to play on the top level of Europe for some more years. And I really could imagine that I'm playing
Yeah.
since 32, 35, I don't know. So yeah, you never know. I'm thinking from year to year, but when I'm staying healthy and everything is working out, and like my family and friends are on my back, and yeah, then I could imagine that I'm playing yeah, for several more years.
No, that's good, man. That's good, and you should. I think you made a good point. I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. We have that 5-year plan, we have that 10-year plan, which is great. But in all honesty, it is good to kind of appreciate each day, enjoy like where we're at, enjoying the moment. Because sometimes when you get too far ahead of yourself, you start stressing out, and you're trying to make each chapter of your book perfect when, like you said, an injury can happen or this, and it kind of can change plans. And it's like, all right, it's been a good ride, or it's been fun, but now it's time for something else. But no, that's awesome. Really happy. As we kind of slowly wind down, it was really great, beneficial. Wanting to have you on here because I think it's great. You've basically gone through all the levels of Europe. You've gone from regional, GFL2, GFL, and now to the ELF, and with notable teams. Crusaders won that regional league that year. The next year was kind of a tough year, especially in the second division. And then the success you had with the Unicorns and with the Surge as well is very impressive, and there's no reason not to keep going.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. What I also like about my career, that I came up from a lower league team and
Yes.
was fighting through the to the GFL and out into the ELF, and yeah, I really like my style of career. I think it's not super typical. I think it's more common because some other lower league guys, they are trying to make that move as well, and it's like
Mhm.
super impressive. And I like when someone wants to know how it is like on top level. And
Yeah.
yeah, but like the last years I played a lot with teams. They were in a youth program with a GFL team, and then they went up to the men's team. But yeah, both ways are working, and that was my way.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And what is if I could ask, where do you see football in Europe going from here? Do you feel that with the ELF and such, it's on the right path? Or do you think a little bit more needs to be done, maybe more with financial, of being able, more teams, having that financial backing, so maybe they can hire, not that it's needed, we're growing the sport, but also maybe hire another American, maybe someone, you get more Americans on the squad. What do you think football in Europe needs to bring more to the table to get to that really high professional level and compete with a Canadian league, or possibly one day of the hopes of a league like the NFL or something?
Yeah. So what I really like about the ELF right now is that they are like maximum the US players and the European players, because that really gives the teams or get them to know that they have to find like good German players. And
Yeah.
I really like that. And yeah, I think also the league is creating. The league has no own youth program, but I
Mhm.
think like the population and everything what the league is doing right now gives young kids like the interest to go into clubs like to Schwäbisch Hall or all other youth programs. And I hope that with that, like all the youth programs are growing as well.
Right.
Yeah, financial wise, I hope yeah, I don't know if it was that in Leipzig, like if it was the financial, I don't really know, but
Right.
I hope like it, like every team will get a solid stand, and that yeah, this is not a problem, or they create problems, or I don't know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really like what the ELF is doing right now with social media wise and everything, and it grows the sport. And yeah, I really hope that like on a solid basic, it will grow maybe a little bit and constantly. Yeah, and I hope not a lot teams will left the ELF or something like that, and
Right.
then I think that can really good. That can be a really good program and plan and league, and yeah.
Yeah.
I could imagine that it works.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you made also a good point a while ago in this interview that you had mentioned. Sometimes it takes a year or two for teams to get going, and I think we're too quick as a society to be like, well, what's good now? We want everything like right now. So if it's not working right now, then it must be bad, and they're done with or whatever. So I think you made a great point with that. I think because a team like Milan, who has shown some great strength, they got some great players, but they unfortunately only have one win at the moment. But next year I can see it totally being different. Or you go from last year, a team that was surprising like the Barcelona Dragons that no one
Mhm.
thought would make a run, and then they make a run. So,
Mhm.
and then they're now going to be adding a team in Madrid for next year and kind of all over. So I think that was a very wise and good point that sometimes you just got to let it build. And maybe the organization where it's at now, they don't might have the right coaches or GM or president, but maybe next year they will, and they will add those right pieces. So that was a good point. I wanted to commend you, but I really appreciate you being on here. It's great to catch up with you. I think last year we saw each other really quick, and it was after you guys blew us out, so I wasn't trying to talk too much. But it's great seeing you, man. I'm really, from friend to friend, really proud of you and to what you're doing. And really keep it up. You got this bye week this week, and then getting ready for Munich in
Mhm.
2 weeks. Yeah, good luck to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, thank you very much. It was also a pleasure for me to talk with you again. And yeah, I think after the game last year, we hadn't too much time to talk a little bit. And
Yeah,
therefore, this, yeah, was pretty fun to
yeah,
catching up with you again. So thank you very much for that opportunity. Really appreciated it.
yeah, man. Great having you on here. Again, this is Brian Case with Touchdown Europe. We were very fortunate to interview Alexander Kreß of the Stuttgart Surge, longtime player in Germany, and looking forward to a great rest of his career. My friend, thank you, and I wish you a great rest of your day.
Same for you. Thank you,
Have
man.
a ciao. Good luck.
Thank you.